Yeah, it works by itself. I don't have to make anything. Well, a few stories. I must make very short presentation because I suppose you're hungry. And well, experiment is well, it's too short story. Yeah. Well, the story is there is a new law in France and about well. You've got the aim of the law, which you have both positive energy and also low emission greenhouse gas. And it's quite new. Normally we separate the law, one for energy, the other one for greenhouse. And I put there some criteria for low emission, just for your information, but it's not the key element of the presentation. Well, you should have the presentation. The key element is that a few years ago we've been thinking about the fact that we got so many regulations and standards in France that probably it was too much difficult to apply. So we make a great job, and one thing what was important it was how to regulate the flow of laws and regulation, because you can really push some laws and regulation every day. And we invented something which is a committee, one of the French I consult for construction, and we'll give some opinion about is the law you want to push forward is useful, what is the impact of the law economically or socially, and they give advice and opinion. Of course, ministry can do what they want, but it's a kind of advisory group. And about this law, well, our first moment, all the committee will say we will give a negative opinion, because we didn't know how to manage that kind of guidelines. And finally, we say, well, we are okay for this law, but with only one condition: we want to experiment the regulations to come. And so there is an experimentation with going on his way for 1.5 years with all the stakeholders of construction, and I think it's quite interesting to experiment regulation before setting the regulation in the landscape. So that's quite different way to work. Normally we think that everything is predictive. I think it's a kind of gently dream, because nothing is predictive. For instance, normally we should finish at 10, and we won't. That's unpredictable. So it's only another way to set regulation and to make all the people involved in that process. And I think that the memorandum you have in Latvia is quite close to that kind of thinking and the way we could act in this manner. So probably you got the general aims of experimentation, yeah, under construction, because it is on its way. It's quite new, but it is there to capitalize to see what is affordable and acceptable for all the industry and construction industry, to set a kind of objective and target to reach at first step. Another, well, the first part was the experiment, the second one was be positive. Well, there was a large talk about optimistic, skeptic and things. Well, I should give you a proverb that can make an illustration of that. Be positive. Well, we are talking about a lot of regulation in European level and so on, and you may think that it is unreachable and probably so difficult to obtain. So there is a group of people. Yeah. Too far. Well, they organize a contest every year, and it's a voluntary contest, of course. And it's on existing building, and especially for offices building. And the challenge is to show that they are able to reduce consumption of energy without a minimum investment. So this challenge is, there is a kind of monitoring, just to know, and to predict according to the weather condition of the year and according to the 3 years consumption of this building, and to predict what should be the consumption this year and what it is in actual figures. And what is interesting, well, I will tell you what is, well, there is a French name in the presentation, just if you learn one name, one word, but it shouldn't be very useful. Well, the fact is that the result of this contest shows that without investment, only changing the behavior, because it is a major issue probably for energy consumption, should be the behavior. Of course, we can build better to improve the consumption of building, better equipment as well, but probably the behavior should be major in the gap you have to fulfill to again the result. So there are mainly organizing training, and with some very high-tech device, such as the little cat you can see. Well, there is a word in French which is mistigris. Mistigris is a kind of black cat, and you don't like black cats. So people imagine to take a paper and paint in black a form of cat and put on the door of the offices of which will let his computer on during the night. And well, it seems to very low tech, but the gain of that was 5% of the consumption of on 1 year only. So the results are, I give you the figures for the result for this year, 1 year contest, without nothing. Only the group who is very sensible for how to behave probably in consumption. They make some decreasing of energy consumption of the whole energy consumption from building of, well, it might be 20-25%. Well, what's in an average? The average this year was 12% for all the panels. Some are going far, quite nearly to 40%, because you can really have important gain on that. So optimistic, because sometimes it seems to be impossible to do, and even the people who organized the contest didn't believe that. So try to think about the mistigris, which is a small cat. Mistigris, it should help probably in some cases. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Thank you, Laurent, and merci beaucoup.